きなりですね。 Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Beat Drop. Thank you so much for sticking with us tonight. My name is Booth. We're not going to really mess around here with me talking about stuff you saw this last week. I've looked over the VODs the last couple weeks. It's a little odd to talk to yourself about things going on, but what's not odd is interviewing members of the Tranquility community when that's the whole point of the show. So we're going to get into our first interview right away here. It'll be a familiar face to some of those. If you watched some of our broadcasts, especially in the last week, our first interview tonight is going to be Thoriumea, also known as Thea. Thea, welcome to the Beat Drop.
Thank you. Hi to everyone watching. And, I'm glad to be on the beat drop on the side as someone being interviewed because
Yeah,
last season I was the one interviewing people as one of the people managing beat drop with Captain Jack last
that's
season.
right. Caster, content creation team member, player for Frost Nova. Really, dipping your toes in the waters across all the way here. But that's your experience in Tranquility now. But I'm interested first. Tell me what led you to Tranquility. How did you find us?
I found out about Tranquility from actually Kaden and from Yojimbo.
Every other person that interviews just like, yeah, Caden showed me the server.
So
Everyone.
Honestly, how this all started was I joined the Dallas Fuel Discord, played in one Pugs session that I think it was the lobby Kaden was managing, and I had fun. That it was like one time playing Pugs. I think she also just vibed with my energy, sent me like a message that hey, I have my own Discord server. Why don't you join? I joined her server, and that's where I met so many other Tranquility people like Jimbo, Kaden,
Mhm.
um, and even like old familiar faces, like if you remember Yoon, that's
Oh yeah.
one. If
Yep.
you remember Yoon, that's where I met like so many of them. So honestly, it all started from the Dallas Fuel Discord and playing Pugs with Kaden. That's how I ended up in Tranquility with I think Jimbo midway through season 5 was just like, hey, I need more staff people in Pantheon. Would you want to be on board to become staff member? And that's how I ended up in Pantheon for season 5.
There you go. It is fun to see how many people have joined over from that side of things. I managed Nocturnal back in I think that was season 5, maybe. But anyway, like half the team came from that same exact mark there. That would have been oh my gosh, why can't I think of the Toxic Blade from that way back
Yeah.
in the day came over with that group as well. Yeah, that was a lot of fun people on that side. So what's been your competitive history with Overwatch then as a player?
So I've never done at least competitive Overwatch until like Tranquility in season 6 when Pantheon decided it was gonna create more teams and then like rebrand into like Pantheon is just the org. We're gonna have like different teams under it, like Strix, Valkyrie. And that's honestly where I started was like playing support and managing Strix in season 6. Prior to that, I really didn't have any competitive experience. I come from the Philippines. I've played in like Asia servers and it gets way more toxic there than it is in like NA servers. Like whoever like when people say like NA servers are really toxic like for Overwatch, like I can willingly calm like in NA servers, like in ranked. I cannot do it in Asia servers without like someone insulting me like right off the bat. It's not fun.
Oh gosh, I wouldn't enjoy that whatsoever. Well, okay, shifting away from playing a little bit. So you are also a new broadcaster. This has been your first season doing it here with us. So what led you to want to really get into casting?
um Honestly, I think it started with more than anything, I the interest in casting was more of an interest to help out in the trans community more than anything. And I remember Yeti putting out I think an announcement saying that they were looking for analysts and
Hmm. Hmm.
analyst casters. And I was like, hey, sure, why not? Like I've I've watched the broadcasts in like season 5 up to season 7. I have a general idea of like how the flow goes. I'd like to think I have some general macro understanding of the game to at least like be a decent analyst. So I was like, hey, why not try it? Like get on it and try it to see like if it's something I'd like to do. I think like prior to that, the only thing I've ever casted was a for fun tournament that my friend made for like Rainbow Six Siege, and like
Oh,
that was it.
oh gosh, that's a weird esport to cast with too. I think to say Overwatch is a hard one to watch. When I even understood that game, I had no clue what was going on in those broadcasts sometime. Well, happy you landed here with it then. It's been a great addition to have you casting with us so far here this season. All right, let's shift a little bit away from Overwatch now. So you let me know of a few of your hobbies here that you wanted to talk about. So first, right off the bat, you mentioned K-pop. So my fiance is very into K-pop as well, but I was curious, what is it about it that really makes you like? What about it do you enjoy the most?
Um, Personally, I think what got me to K-pop more than anything was was I think the idol competition shows that created some K-pop groups. I think like while watching these idol competition shows, you kind of see like trainees who want to become idols. They aren't able to become one while they're in the competition. But like I end up like liking them while they're in the competition, so I end up following them afterwards, which is
Hmm.
you start seeing them in like certain K-pop groups afterwards. I think like the biggest example was a girl named Sihyun from a competition called Produce 48. She didn't make the final group, but now she's like in a really popular K-pop group called Everglow, and I've been following them, since debut. Like so, I think it's a lot of it is seeing these like the idols like get better over time
Hmm.
as they're performing. Like sometimes they start out not having enough screen time or barely any lines, and then you suddenly see like, oh, they're starting to get better, they're getting more lines, and then like you're seeing their growth. I think for me, for K-pop, a lot of it is like, yeah, there's like really good music that's like there's something for everyone, but like a lot of it for why I stick around is because I like following, I guess, like the storylines of the idols as they're in their groups.
Yeah, that's something that happens, I think, with a lot of shows. Have really spawned that in music sense. You try to get more of not even get popular just for your vocals or for how musically you perform, but try to build a community around yourself and think about the long term outcomes of things. It's silly not to look at it that way now when getting into music, and I know that's spawned a lot of shows even outside of K-pop. So yeah, that's a trend that's happening everywhere. So it seems. So another hobby you're really into, which you mentioned, I thought was really cool, is you're really into creating stationery.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool one. I've never heard about it. So it's kind of like designing your own planner. Well, walk us through what is that like for you?
So I think like my biggest frustration, like when they like for those built-in like planners or stuff that you can buy from like Target or Walmart or something, is like the boxes are already preset in terms of
Hmm.
size. Sometimes what you're looking for is a weekly layout, but like the weekly layouts that you're seeing aren't the type that you're looking for specifically. So I've transitioned from like having more of like a notebook that I design such that it fits the needs of like what I'm looking for in a planner. So I could show like what I have. So
Yeah, please.
yeah, so like um let me get like a good page. So like this is this is something I did for like October, and like it's a month. This
Oh
one's like a
wow.
monthly setup, and like the way I do it is like I have lots of stickers, and I also have like lots of like tapes with like designs, and like that's how I design like the planners and make sure like they're into like the layout that I want. And like this one's like the monthly spread, but because also like I'm a student and I have like stuff due like every week, or like readings I need to like catch up on every week, I also have like a weekly side to it that just lists down like, oh, these are the
Wow.
things I need to read for class. And then like usually at the bottom of it, I would list down like, okay, this is what I need to do today. And like it's gonna like either tap to a reading from like a different week or something.
Wow. That's gonna segue pretty well into my last couple questions here about that, but I would have missed many less assignments if I would have had something as useful as that because I would try to get organized and use planners and things like that, but I I first they never seemed to exactly meet how
Mhm.
exactly I wanted to use things. It didn't
Yeah.
match how my organization things worked. Well, we actually had you go first tonight in our beat drop interview for a reason. You have a busy day tomorrow. I actually saw Krista in the Twitch chat mention something about it, saying she's looking in the back, noting there's something hanging on your closet there.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell everybody what's going on for you tomorrow? You have a pretty big day.
Yeah, so the reason like that thing hanging up is for my graduation. So I'm graduating tomorrow from law school. So that's honestly why when I'm explaining my planner of like readings and all that, just making sure I'm keep up to date with everything, is because I went to law school for 3 years and I'm graduating tomorrow finally. Um it's been like a long journey for
Congratulations.
me, but like there's a reason why I needed like planners that were, specifically designed for my needs was because um with so many things happening like for keeping up in law school, I just really needed it and I'm just so happy to be done and to be graduating tomorrow.
I completely know what you mean. I finished my last assignment last week. I'll graduate in August, and it's there's nothing like it. I can only imagine what the day is going to feel like. So, as a fellow grad student, I often think back of I think any student would is how my habits have kind of changed over the years quite a bit. What's something you would love to give yourself as a piece of advice on your first day of law school now that you've made it through?
Um s- Honestly, it would have been stick to a system that you're like already super comfortable with and like make sure you really have structure in your life. I think what ended up happening to me over the course of my like being in law school was like I had like a super structured system on my first year of law school, which kind of reflected itself in like really good grades, right? Honor student at the end of like the first year. But like I kind of let that go on my second year of law school up to like maybe midway through my third year. So it's really like just have a system in place because a lot of at least getting through whether it's grad school or law school or even just like
Cool.
undergrad,
Yeah.
our school in general is like literally just having a system in place and like
Mhm.
sticking to that system because even if for example you don't get to complete everything on like a specific time period you said you would work on something, right? It still means you did work on that time period and I guess in a way you're still being productive and there's still going to be fruits of your labor rather than just like procrastinating until like the end of time.
Yeah, yeah. I've always found that I'm just most productive after finishing some kind of task. So you normally don't have just one thing to work on. You got a
Mhm,
couple things you can work on. So I say work on what you're excited, interested about right off the bat, and you'll once you see you have less on your plate, you'll feel more inept to do the things
mhm.
you maybe been procrastinating over a little bit. Well, before we let you go, Thea, because I know you gotta get to rest tomorrow, you got a big day. Is there anything else you'd like to share here?
Honestly, like a few people wanted shout outs, so I'm just going to like do
Just
that for
list them
them.
off. Just shoot
Obviously,
them
right?
off.
Like right off the top of my bat, like firstly for me, like shout out to I guess like so many teams slash orgs that I'm actually very close to. One would be Strix. I still like pseudo manage them behind the scenes. I help Jimbo that way. Shout out also to I guess the Space Pirates org. Honestly, like super close to like the people in it, whether it's BBB and Cosmic Castaways. Another org I'm also very close to is surprisingly FBRD. Very close to everyone in that server. Also shout out to Drugs Mom. Drugs
Okay.
Mom, great. And then finally, like great shout out I would be towards like I guess my team in general, like Frost Nova. Honestly, from the start, I wasn't expecting to get picked up as a DPS player. I was almost going to like put out an LFT to just play support again, but like no. Permafrost said that hey, we want to hone your Sombra gameplay and like make you play Sombra, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity, and that comes to like the people in the organization. One of them happens to be Stelbel OW. She specifically asked to be called Stelbel OW. I also have to
Gotta
shout
make
out
sure. Overwatch. Gotta
yeah,
make
and
sure.
I also have to shout out our Jorts comp, which is I have no idea what the composition is, but like we call every comp we run just Jorts comp. It's supposed to be the worst comp ever, but like that's just saying all our comps are bad.
And you named
Then,
it properly at least,
yeah,
because jorts
yeah,
are ugh.
it's Jorts. And then shout out to Jellybean and Everest. These are the two cats of Stell and Ricky. They really wanted their cats to be shout out.
Very important. I'm a cat
I love
dad, I
my teammates.
understand.
Yeah, and second to the last for a shout out would be Blazen's roommate Pierce because he calms way more than Blazen in our matches. Like literally, it has happened. Like oh, at the background we'll hear his roommate making a call out, and we're just like, wait, is that Blazen or his roommate? No, it's his roommate Pierce. So shout out to Pierce, and finally, shout out to my boyfriend. Yes, he asked to be shout out. He also wanted his name not to be disclosed.
Well, alright.
So
Well,
many shout outs.
quite a good list there of shout
I do
outs.
have like a list of this, by the way. Like
Well,
literally, I
you
have
had
it
room
in a
for it
notebook.
in your planner, it was
I
perfect.
do.
Oh, well, congratulations, Thea, I hope your graduation goes well tomorrow, thank you so much for joining us here this week, but, get to rest, you got a busy day for you
Aw,
tomorrow, but
thank you.
as we go that though, we are gonna throw to our second interview, and that is gonna be, Joining us next is How to Draw. How to Draw going to be joining us here on the Beat Drop. Welcome and thank you for joining us. How you feeling?
Hi, feeling good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad to have you. You're part of the team Feeders United. You're a tank on their side, and first season here in Tranquility. So, how you feel about the EU competition so far? It's a very new thing to us here in the group, but we are very excited to kind of join over to it. But like, how did you find Feeders United and like find Tranquility?
Um, yeah, the EU competition's been really cool. How I found Feeders United is, I remember when roll queue, I was just kind of like a high silver, low gold DPS. I didn't really like scrim or anything.
Hmm.
And then when roll queue came out, DPS queues were like 12 minutes or whatever. I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
that's awful. I'm gonna sign
Hmm.
up for a tournament so I don't have to wait on DPS queues. And
At
from
least you'll
there,
get
like,
healed too. That's it's very
yeah.
nice.
It it was a really fun team and stuff, and, like, Feeders United had been around since, like, I think Goat's era, like, since the
Oh
start of
wow. Okay.
Goats. So, like, some people on there, like, played on that team. I kinda got dragged on there, and I've been sort of around ever since. I usually played DPS on there, but for some reason, we always sign up to, like, tournaments of, like, SR rules, and I always end up getting
Mm,
moved on to main tank somehow.
yeah.
Or probably committed some sins in a previous life, you know?
Something like that. I understand
My
that.
punishment.
It's not been a fun time. Now it's fun to play tanks in Overwatch, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Um, so what's really been your experience with other EU tournaments? I mean, this is our first time doing it here in Tranquility, but what's been kind of a difference that you found so far?
Tranquility, like, I don't know, it just feels like more of a production, if that makes sense, of, like, all the streams and stuff, like, there's, like our team has merch now and stuff,
Yeah.
it's kind of surreal, like, I've played, like, Get Good's obviously a really
Mhm.
popular one, like, that's kind of like, it's cool, like, but it feels just kinda like a tournament, doesn't feel like there's any spectacle behind it, and
Yeah.
then we played SVB's Metal Cup, which was a strange experience because it had hero bans, and we actually
Ah,
won that because we realized that all the other teams only knew how to play Brawl and, like, what do you call double bubble, so we just
oh
banned
yeah.
Rhinana every time and played ball against them,
There you
and
go.
they didn't really know what to do, but yeah, no, this is really, really cool, I really like Rank.
Thank you. Anything else you want to butter up the ego here too? Just keep firing it off. I'll be more than happy. Well, we were talking about playing DPS and the queue times being pretty terrible. I now the tank queue times are awful in Overwatch 2 beta. Have you had any chance to really play the beta yet, or watch any of the streams? Or
Oh, so much.
yeah,
Played it, scrimmed it, played pugs on it. I think
fun.
we had a match this week and we scrimmed Overwatch 2 more than Overwatch 1. I think we just did we had a game on Wednesday. We played one scrim on Tuesday, which only went for like an hour or something because we were doing our like Oil Fantasy League draft beforehand. So we started at
Mhm.
like 9 CST rather than 8. So yeah,
Wow.
A lot of Overwatch 2.
Well, it just feels it feels it's just fun to have fresh, right? It's
Yeah.
new, it's decent. I mean, have you swapped back over to the DPS for this now, or are you sticking, or what are you doing so far?
I'm getting back on DPS as soon as
Yeah.
possible. I hate tanks so much.
It's fun though. I like this new
Uh,
tank to queue on.
yeah, I mean, solo tank in Overwatch 2 is kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
I I'm I tried playing Doomfist. Like, I could play Doomfist pretty decently in DPS, but
Mhm.
with his new slam now, like, I
Tough.
go to like slam on someone in front of me, and I end up just like a mile behind them. It's
Yeah.
awful, but I worked out like it kind of functions similar to like
Yeah.
Winston jump, so you can like
Very.
SE slam as well. So if like you want
Mhm.
to have like short range targets, I've worked that
Yeah.
out.
It's gonna take some time to get used to. I know a lot of DPS players are trying to figure out the Doomfist side, but I mean, right now you're getting queued into games quicker as DPS, so I just take it and run with it
Yeah,
until
I
that's
mean,
until that's
support
gone.
queues are the new tank queues, but I think
Yeah.
maybe the new patch fixes that ban or Zen with
People
his
want
like
to kick.
sweet chin music.
Yeah, people wanna do a little WWE kicks, and maybe that'll help out a little bit here. Alright, well, let's shift away from Overwatch here. So, you mentioned to me that you're a guitarist, so, I hate saying that I'm also a guitarist because I am not good. Like, I'm like, I might just be at campfire level if I have, like, a tabs app I can use or something to
Oh,
pull the
I'm the
few
same.
things
I'm
up.
mediocre.
Ugh,
I'm just play for enjoyment.
I've always I wanna have someone around me that can, like, shred a solo and I can maybe, like, play a couple of
Yeah,
chords on or something, but
yeah.
I just can't grasp it. But anyway, with that, what
Rhythm guitarist.
yeah, oh my rhythm's fun. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was
rhythm's fun. Yeah,
I started
it's
as a drummer.
necessary.
Yeah, I started as a drummer, so it just kinda made sense. I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
kinda know the beat a little bit." Well, what led you, to guitar?
Um, I don't know, like, when I was like, I think I started when I was like 11 or 12, and I just
Mhm.
started sort of listening to like sort of heavier music, and it's like
Yeah.
this sounds really cool. Like how do I make these sounds?
Yeah.
And then funny story, I did guitar lessons at my school, but the music teacher was like, you have better chance of getting, or like, you'll definitely get guitar lessons if you join the choir. So I kind of got blackmailed into joining the choir.
Ah, gotcha. Yep.
And then I tried to drop out, and they sent a letter home to my parents, asked me to go back into the choir, and I just didn't. So
See, I did that at school, but they had enough guitarists, so I played the ukulele for it, which
yeah,
it didn't really fit. They just wanted people involved, and
yeah,
I was happy with it. And funny story for Yoshi, they said just play through the fire and the flames on a stream real quick. When I was younger, this will date things a little bit here. I got one of my iTunes gift cards for my iPod, and I bought a bunch of songs from Dragon Force, that band, because
yeah,
I loved Guitar Hero so much, and I loved Through the
yeah.
Fire and the
Guitar Hero was
Flames.
sick.
And my parents ended up deleting the songs because I was listening to speed metal so much that I couldn't sleep at night. Like I couldn't stop. Just like it wasn't like I was listening to music; my brain couldn't function. So my parents took away speed metal because I was listening to so much Dragon Force. um,
Unlucky.
well, so who's a guitarist that really inspires you, or a favorite guitarist for you when you think about different guitar players?
Ooh, that's a long list.
Yeah,
I think
it's
at
a
the
lot of
top
good
would
ones.
probably be like this is gonna be awful because a lot of music isn't I listen to isn't really well known, so these names would probably
Okay.
mean like nothing to
Hey,
most people.
hey,
But
who
like
knows?
Will Swan from Dance Gavin Dance, like a lot of their stuff is really cool. Like it's a lot of it's like sort of more like tapping and stuff, like really technical. I really like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah, and then there's like I think Tom Searle from Architects. That's like really heavy, sort of like metalcore and stuff. And then I guess maybe in the more well-known side would probably be Adam Hand from 1975,
Okay, yeah,
and
yeah,
then
1975 is great.
probably I can't remember his name, but the guitarist, the Tiny Moving Parts. It's more sort of like kind of mathy, like weird time signatures and stuff.
I love tiny moving parts. Oh, they're
Yeah,
great. That's good. I've always kind of fallen back onto guitars. I think I mentioned this a few beat drops ago when I was talking with another interview who played guitar. That the first time I hear them play, maybe a bar or two, I go, I know who that is. Like they have a distinct style to them. Like Tom Morello. Whenever I hear a certain from uh, Rage Against the Machine, whenever
yeah,
I hear a certain pedal effect, I'm like, oh, I know who that is.
yeah,
I know I can you can kind of distinct them right
yeah. Some
away.
bands just have like that sound that's just
Yeah, they
instantly
have that
recognizable.
sound, and I think I've always been really melodic when I've like from guitar players. So whenever they're playing as much melody as
Yeah,
kind of following with the vocalist a bit, that's always been something I've
yeah.
enjoyed.
Those bands are so recognizable that like
Yeah,
just a bunch of people just end up imitating them as well.
exactly. I was listening to an interview with Slash recently where he was talking about that because he's kind of one of the godfathers of that. He's like, I think someone asked him like, do you have an idea of how many bands have really just imitated your sound? And he's like, I don't even want to think about it. 'Cause I can't even imagine how many have come off of that. Well, another topic to go about here. So you're currently at uni studying English and history.
Yep.
So what's one of the favorite topics for you to kind of learn about or research on?
Hmm. Probably be English, and specifically since I'm kind of lazy when it comes to schoolwork, poetry because it's less reading
Okay.
than novels.
Yeah,
It's just
understandable.
I always try and take all the poetry modules because like it's just like like about 10 pages mostly per week, and then like the modules of like novels and stuff is like 300 pages per week, so
Oh,
just
that's
more
nice.
efficient.
Oh, I'd
I'd
understand.
say probably like I don't know. I like a lot of like Robert Browning and Tennyson's poetry, and then like a lot of contemporary poetry as well is really cool.
Oh, that's
Like
interesting.
yeah,
That'd have been for my
contemporary.
sister. My sister did a lot of classics in college, so
Yeah,
a little not as in line with it, but it went really heavy into
yeah,
Greek poetry for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I actually like looking at them like sort of both in like sort of contrast because like just like poetry, everyone thinks of poetry like like sort of I don't know. I guess like think it's like sort of classical writers, and then you have
Mhm.
like people like contemporary poetry writing about like technology age and stuff. Like
Yeah,
it's really cool.
that is really interesting. Well, okay, how to draw. I'm sure we could talk here for quite a while of things. So, before we let you go here, is there anything else you'd like to share?
um, guess my team will kill me if I don't shout them out. So
Give him a quick shout out. Yeah.
no, but yeah, shout out to my team. Love those guys, even though they make me play main tank.
Oh, that's you care when
Yeah,
they still shout you out and you force
so-
them on they force them on Ryan every week. Well, not
yeah.
Ryan right now, but at one point it was.
Jinx will also be mad if I don't shout out the Feeders United Twitter. He
Fever
posted a
United
clip,
Twitter is very
yeah,
good.
twitter.com/Feeders United. He posted a clip recently of me being MTD'd, and I wasn't happy at all. I got we were Overwatch 2 scrimming. I got juggled off the map by Winston when I was running.
Oh god.
Not a good
Oh, with the
time.
knockback resistance too. Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't a good look for me. It should have been a
no.
private moment. He shared it with, well, our Twitter has like 15 followers, but 15 more people that didn't need to see it. But yeah,
Oh, well, nevertheless, it was great talking with you here, How to Draw. Thank you so
yeah,
much
you
for
too. It
joining
was
us
really
here
fun
on
being
the
on
Beat
here.
Drop
Thanks for
tonight.
having me.
So you have a good one here. Good luck here with the rest of your time here with Feeders United. But we're going to move on to our next interview here. Our next interview is going to be Mweep. Mweep, welcome to the Beat Drop, the DPS from Ragnarok Fenrir. Thank you for joining us here on the Beat Drop. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Booth. How about you? How about you?
I'm doing okay. New setup. I need to get some lighting in this room. It's a little dark.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, but I'm doing okay. It was a quick featured match tonight. So normally I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
just finishing up with producing, and now I'm trying to scramble to get the interviews going on. So I'm not too upset with things right now. Well, you've been with us since season 6, I think is what we said right before the broadcast, right? So
Yeah.
what was it that got you to Tranquility back then?
Um. So the first team that I was on back in season 6 was Q for Quarantine.
Yep.
I played main tank for them, and I went under Louise. It was a different name, which I eventually changed to Mweep. Um, but before joining Tranquility, we played in a couple of tournaments, specifically from Ignited. Um, it was pretty fun. We enjoyed it a lot. And so just we stuck around. We hung out a lot. And we came across Tranquility, or our captain came across Tranquility, and was like, "Yo, do you guys want to play?" We were like, "Hell yeah, why not?" Um, and at the time, I was like really young. I didn't really have anything to do, and it was around the time of quarantine, hence the name Q for
Yep.
quarantine.
Oh, I remember.
Um, so yeah, I didn't have anything to do. I was like, this is like perfect for me. I'm staying at home doing school. Let's do it.
That was a fun team. You guys were a really cool run that season. That was one of the cool story arcs I felt like at that time. So what had you find Q for Quarantine and the teams from that? Then what led you to them?
Um, there was a lot of just going off and on between different teams, and a hop between like GGNA and some other smaller organization tournaments. Um, and it was just a lot of hopping between scrim teams as well. Um, I think I've honestly got no clue what team was my first, but I always resort to my first being Syndicates, which was a team that I ran personally. I don't know if Dab is in the chat right now. Dab, where are you at? Come on.
They were there at some point.
Hey,
They're always
Dab.
lurking. They're always here.
Dab's always
There they are.
there. He is.
Yeah, there
There
it
he
is.
is. That's my boy. Dab was on that team. Um, so that's kind of why Dab and I are really close still. In Tranquility Discord chat. We're always mean to each other because we're just good friends. I don't know.
Hey,
But
nothing
I
wrong with
always
that.
I always resort to Syndicates being my first team. Um, but after that, um, it kind of fell apart, and so I was just hopping between teams. I ended up in GGNA, um, which then as like I joined a team in GGNA around the time that it was ending. Um, and the team that I was on was like, "Yo, the season's about to end. We kind of want someone else." I was like, "All right, cool. I guess drop me. I guess it's cool." Um, and then I ended up with Q, and I'm here now.
There you go. Well, what's the plan so far with Overwatch 2? Have you got to do any of the have you got to play beta?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
play,
It's
played a lot of it.
what's your take so far?
I really really enjoy it. Um, it's Sojourn feels so clean.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good hero.
Cassidy's weird. I don't know how to feel about Cassidy.
I think Cassidy's steadily better than we've kind of laid him
Yeah,
out for. That one body shot and like a
yeah.
E. I think
That
they're gonna have to do something with Fan the Hammer. It feels out of place now. There's not much
it does
field
feel
break.
really out of place, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, but it also feels kind of weird because you can kind of fan the hammer around the corner, get lucky, and nick someone in like just a body shot, and then maybe throw an E. But still, at that point, I don't know if if that
Yeah,
might get taken advantage of in Brawl a little too easily. But
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I think Fan the Hammer is going to need some kind of replay, and also
yeah,
I don't know if just because the game's quicker, but High Noon feels doesn't feel as effective. It feels kind of out of
yeah.
place.
I think they did add a damage reduction to him when
Yeah.
he has high noon.
Okay.
Um, but I'm only guessing that because there might have been a game I had on Midtown, and I threw a diva bomb at a high nooning Cassidy, and he didn't die.
Oh my god.
So I was like, wait, what? Wait, what? I was literally like going through patch notes. It's like when?
When? Where is it?
Um, but yeah, Cassidy's pretty fun. Sojourn's really fun. I have noticed. I watched Owl today.
Mhm.
Um, and I was surprised to see that Tracer was doing pretty well, honestly, still in meta because when I started to play her, in like quick play or whatever is on the beta right now, I had a really tough time playing her. She felt really different, but it also could have been the engine for me because just the engine in general feels different and it's kind of
Yeah.
hard for me to aim. Um,
Probably
but
depends
she,
on your tank player too, right? I mean, they're running a lot of
yeah,
Winston
yeah,
comps being run, which makes
yeah.
sense. Winston basically just got buffed in like a
Oh
way.
yeah,
Like he has less knockback resistance, gave him a little more damage. So that kind of dive. Right now, everyone's still figuring stuff out. Every game feels like dive sometimes to me, just because of how scattered things are.
oh yeah,
So having a Winston to follow up with, and I've been trying to work on there's a pretty good I mean, you can almost a one shot now with Winston a tracer
oh
just
yeah,
by doing the right click leap and trying
yeah.
to have a melee land with your jumps. So I mean, that's a lot of damage jumping in right away. It's pretty easy for tracer just to pick that up a little.
Hmm.
Well, let's shift away from Overwatch here a little bit then. So you're into a lot of other games here. You mentioned Call of Duty, especially zombies being a pretty popular game for you that you enjoy. What is the best zombies for you? What's the one you think
All
of and
right.
you go, oh, that's the best?
Um, Objectively, I would say Black Ops 3,
Okay.
but personally, I have to go with Black Ops 1 because it has the most
Mm,
nostalgia
that is
and
very.
one of my favorite maps of all time,
Ooh, which one would that have been?
Call of the Dead.
Ah,
With
yes, very
George
good.
Romero and
Mhm.
the acting crew.
Oh, yeah, I like
I
that
love the map so much.
one. I loved 3. That was one of my
Oh,
favorite ones to kind of play, but I think that's a very acceptable answer. Oh, we might have lost Mweep
hang
there.
on. My mic still might be here.
Yeah, your mic's still here. You might have just lost
Okay.
camera for a second.
Yeah, my camera. There we go.
Hey, there we go. No worries.
We're chilling. We're chilling.
Hey, that's a good answer though. I'll take that answer for sure. And then another game you play a lot of is Minecraft, which still is one I still fall back on quite a bit here. So, are you more of a modded or are you vanilla?
I'm vanilla 100%. Tab, you did not destroy my camera.
Got your IP, and he took the shot.
Um, I'm vanilla all the way. It might be because of my PC. I've got a really bad PC, honestly, and I can't really run a lot
Limiting.
of mods. Um, but also, it's just modded is a little bit too much for me. It's like my brain can't handle the amount of stuff that just goes on with all the like extra whatever the crap. There's
Mhm.
like machines and then there's like guns are here and there. Like, wait,
Yeah,
what is
it gets
happening?
pretty wild pretty quick.
Yeah.
I've been playing, I don't know how many years now, since like 1.7 or 1.6 or something, and this is the first year I've ever even broke out modded because some old coworkers had a server of Sky Factory 4, I think it is. Yeah, so just like a modded, but it was like they're all like just farming stuff based because I was a Redstone guy, still am in vanilla.
Mhm.
So I always fall back in there. Builder or Redstone or neither.
I'm not into redstone. I
Okay.
just I'm very I don't build either. I'm more of just like, oh, there's a cave here. All right, I live here now. Um, and then I just start mining as much as possible.
Oh,
Um,
this new update couldn't have been too fun for you. Deep Slate's not fun to
Honestly,
deal with.
well, the deep slate's not fun, but looking at the huge caves
It's very cool.
is one of my favorite things that has happened to
Yeah,
Minecraft
it's
just
very
at
cool.
all time.
Well, I'm sure you're gonna like this next update then, because
Oh
that's
yeah.
adding that. That's gonna be fun to explore with. So, also you've mentioned you're a pretty big music fan. So, what are some of the genres you kind of lean towards?
A lot of rap, a lot of hip hop,
Hmm.
R&B, a a little bit of pop here and there. Dad, please stop asking about the Uno video.
He's
Jesus
pretty
Christ.
adamant about it there. Well, so what are some of the artists that you really think back and fall back on then?
Well, since I have this here right now.
We
Oh,
gotta see it.
no. Oh, my camera. We got Tyler, the Creator.
Very nice.
Let's call me if you get lost. Um, Tyler has slowly become my favorite artist of pretty much all time.
Okay.
His
Yeah,
last three projects.
Flower Boy was a big one for me. That was
Yeah, yeah.
one of my favorite albums. I listened to that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
I liked Igor, and I think I like Calling Me to Get Lost a little better than Igor, but Flower Boy is still the one that I go back to.
Yeah. Flower Boy, in the past like 2 years has had a big impact on me.
Yeah.
Just because of like just the symbolism that he
Yeah.
finds and creates in the album. I think it's really, really beautiful. I love it a lot. But yeah.
Yeah, so do I. I agree with you there. That's one of my favorite albums to go back on. I need to get a poster of it. I have a Spider-Verse poster, but that's about it. But I just
Mhm.
moved in. That's why I need to find a place to hang stuff up. But I would look for that'd be probably one of the ones I would go for. I love the cover art on that one too.
Oh yeah.
Got some good features. It's got Frank Ocean and Kali Uchis, and it's got
Yeah.
Rex Orange County. It's a
Oh, yeah.
pretty good list.
Rex is also
A lot of my
one of my
playlists are
favorites.
just that a little.
Oh yeah.
So, well, it's been great talking with you here today so far. Before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like to share here?
Man, just shout out to my teams, Turbo Throwers and Fenrir. This season has been really fun. And I probably wouldn't be here without any of them, as well as my previous teams. I'm not going to call them out specifically. Y'all are cool. And especially shout out to Bree, the GM for Turbo Throwers. She's helped me a lot within the past year, and it's been there for me, and just been a really cool person. But yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here. We really appreciate you being on, and we hope you have a good night. And that's going to lead us here into our final interview of the evening, and that is going to be Tempt. Tempt, welcome to the Beat Drop, our final interview tonight. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So, joining us here for the Rat Society and the tank role here. So, first season here in Tranquility, Rat Society making a good run here through us. But what's really what led you to Tranquility?
What led us to Tranquility? So, uh, about a year ago, last June, we were all a team, and we disbanded, took a little break, and then we were like, okay, we want something new, we want something different, right? So we are like, okay, well, we saw, I don't know who saw Tranquility, I think it was Zet. Shout out Zet.
Nice.
Zet found Tranquility, and was like, you want to sign us up? We're like, fuck it, sure. And then, the rest is history.
That's right. There you go. Well, what's been your kind of play with Overwatch? And has this been one of your like main FPSs? Has this been like your first time in a team environment?
Yeah, for sure. Technically, if you count Minecraft, that's my first FPS, but not really.
Some people
Some
maybe,
people, yeah, some people.
yeah.
But no, Overwatch is my first like competitive FPS. And then so yeah, so I've been playing for as long as I can remember, basically since I was like 12 or something. Um, and then yeah, definitely first team environment like on a video game for sure. Basically, ever since I've been playing, I've been on a team. Um, except for like obviously the last like that little break I was talking about, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It just the game itself just kind of leads you to. I really think if you stick with it and keep going, it's not built for comp. Like comp's fun, but like this
Yeah.
leads you to playing in a six stack. It leads you to playing in a team environment. I think at any
Yeah.
point you kind of, if you're really into the game, like the lore gets you in. But if you're into this gameplay, you got to search for this. So, is Rat Society the first team? Like, has that been the only team for you, or have you kind of bounced around with other teams beforehand?
Basically the same people, but I started off. It was crazy. This is my like history of Overwatch. So basically, I I was like 12 years old, kind of down bad. Me and my friends, we saw an ad with Widowmaker, bad as hell. So we're like, okay, buy that, buy that.
Oh, I
Oh
respect
shit,
it.
one sec, one sec.
I
And
respect
then
that.
they were like, okay, so we bought it because we were just playing Minecraft, right? And it was something, it was a new game, right? So we got it, had a lot of fun, and then like shortly after I joined a team in the Overwatch Community Cup, I think it was
Okay, yeah,
called,
yeah, heard of
something like
that one.
that.
Yeah.
I was on Florida Harmony for a long time, and then I had
Okay.
friends in another server. So like I played that. I had friends in another server, the Houston. I can't remember what they're called, Houston In-Laws or something like that. I had friends there.
Okay. Yeah.
I made
That's
a bunch of
they were
friends
here.
there.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And then so they got a lot better, and then we became like a GM team,
Okay.
and then we competed for a long time. Shout out Apple, and then so then that disbanded. It took a little bit of time to get my SR up so I could get better trials, and then tried out for Bird Society Chickadees, which is what basically Rat Society.
Okay.
And then so I got there. We made pretty good runs in Open Division, and then we, disbanded in June, and then yeah, and then now I'm on Rat Society.
Quite a run across there
Quite
then.
a run, yeah.
Yeah. So are you planning to make the leap over Overwatch 2 then when it comes through?
Uh, Hopefully. I mean, like way different game. It's
Yeah.
like you're not just walking into the other team with something like the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
It's not just that.
Well, have you been on a main tank or the off tank role for Rat Society?
I've been on main tank for Rat Society.
Okay, so there might be a little bit of crossover there, but there's a lot of shifts in like the hero pools there across the
Yeah,
side for you.
yeah,
What's the tank? Have you got to play the beta at all?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, what's the one you found that's the weirdest to jump to so far?
Tank?
Yeah, for a tank
Yo,
for you.
Loki, I haven't played a single tank. I have not.
Really?
I've only played damage. Yeah,
Okay, wow. You gotta give Aretha a try. It is.
no,
I think
playing versus is a pain, bro.
I think it's the best rework they've ever done. It's
Yeah,
so it's good. I mean, I think Doom's a really good rework, but it still feels like you're like Arisa feels like a totally new hero now.
it's so
Just
refreshing, not just like
yeah.
seeing your supports get one tap by
Oh,
Doom.
I love that. I'm concerned about the Zen boop, the Zen kick, the RKO a
Yeah.
bit with it, but
Oh, the new patch. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, I'm happy Ball's back in though because I think I don't know if you got to watch any Owl today. I feel like a lot of Owl comps might have wanted some Wrecking Ball in, and I was kind of excited to see where that was going to come through. But they added a pretty big knockback to Ball,
Yeah,
like another
yeah, I heard
30%
that.
on it. Yeah, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. But we'll see if the how the Zen sides come through with it. But all right, let's shift away from Overwatch here.
All right.
So one of the hobbies you said you're interested in is music production, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay, so kind of walk us through that a little bit.
All right. So basically, it started. I think it was in grade. I want to say six. At my school. We had like this computer lab type
Hmm.
thing, and me and my friend would always get our work done early because we'd always be like computer rats like outside of school. So we'd get it done pretty fast with like scratch stuff, and then they'd have GarageBand, so we'd always just like
Okay, yeah,
mess
yeah,
around
yeah.
with GarageBand for like the rest of the class. The teacher wouldn't care because we already did our work and everything. So,
Mhm.
and I didn't really touch it that much until like Christmas, since where I lived we were on lockdown for like 2 months during my winter break, so I couldn't really do anything. I was like, okay, I'll take it up, fuck it, and then you know, yeah. So that now I use FL Studio, which is like much more
Okay.
complicated.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know about that. I've done a little bit, before. I had a friend with
Oh,
Pro
no
Tools,
way, no way.
so
Oh,
yeah, we
okay, yeah,
so that was real intense. I mean, that's the real shit. But,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
GarageBand was definitely where I started too. I even had some class projects way back in high school where I got to just submit GarageBand files, like, for English or something like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
okay, that's pretty interesting. So what's kind of like an entry level software then or something to recommend? Is GarageBand where you'd recommend some people getting
I would
started then?
I would probably say GarageBand just to like see how everything works because you don't actually have to make your own drums. I think in GarageBand,
Yeah,
at least
that's
when I
true.
did it,
It
and
has
it's
a
kind of
pad on
like
it. Mhm.
yeah, exactly. So you kind of just choose your drummer and like kind of modify it a little bit, but
Mhm.
like at least it shows you like the basics, right? And
Yeah.
then because FL Studio has like a crazy learning curve, I wouldn't like unless you really want to and like take like at least 20 hours to like even know what you're
Yeah.
doing.
Oh,
Like
even especially if you get any extra equipment too, like if you get a synth pad or something like that, it is not a
yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
yeah.
an easy thing to directly transition into.
Yeah,
So let's say
shout out Olaf, shout out
yeah,
Luca.
let's
He
see
gave me
it.
this. Shout out my friend.
Okay.
He gave me that.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
same exact pad.
Oh, word, really?
Yeah, I do. I haven't hooked it up in a while, but so who are some of the like the musical influences you'll fall back on that made you want to kind of get into this?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. I have to say Pierre Bourne for sure.
Okay.
That guy is a genius. He's like kind of slow in real life, but he's a genius when it comes to music. It's so funny. Um, I would honestly say that's my biggest one. Like I didn't really want to get back into music producing
Hmm.
until I really got into his music because 'cause he produces all his own music and raps on it. It's like really
Wow.
good. So
That's impressive. Normally, you're seeing somebody at least doing the beats for him, or they're buying it like
yeah,
on for
he's Kanye
somebody
beat
to
too.
go
I'm
over.
telling you.
Well, that's a big lay. Man, that'd be pretty cool. So, what what's is your music like a goal for you to do just a bit more of like some personal things that you just want to work on yourself, or is that something you want to pursue a little bit more professionally?
Uh, I'm kind of torn right now because I'm in school and it's kind of hard to do it,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
a lot of fun. So, and I'm kind of still new to it, so I don't know if I'm
Mhm.
still in the honeymoon phase, but like, it's still
if
really good.
if
It's really fun.
you what I say, if you can sit down and not feel anxious about getting started to do it, and if you're not feeling in any way um really anxious about doing it, or if you know that there's a grind ahead of starting a new song and that doesn't make you want to stop or go do something else, and then you're on to something. Keep doing that until you hit that feeling, because you'll hit that feeling on a couple things eventually.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah,
sure.
ride that phase out with it. Just keep doing as much, copy as many songs as you can to
Yeah,
make you if making your own is too much, just go through and try to recap someone else's or take
yeah,
somebody else's and go
for
for
sure.
it, or slightly change somebody else's.
Mhm.
Okay, so what is if you had to think of another artist you would want somebody to listen to besides them, who would you pick for somebody
Who
that
would I
would if
pick?
yeah,
Like producer or just like
producer,
any
artist,
artist?
anyone that you think that like it kind of is in your kind of music style there.
All right. Well, I've been listening to a lot of like this genre called plug and B. It's basically like R&B kind of chords on like a 90s piano with like trap
Okay.
drums kind of. And it's really like you can sing on it, you can rap on it. I love it. So I'd probably if you want to like start listening to that, I'd listen to Autumn. So Autumn with an exclamation mark. Um Other than that, probably like, basic stuff like Lil Uzi, uh all that. Just melodic rap. I love melodic rap.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
style there too. Well, Temp, before we let you go here, is there anything else you'd like to share here before we let you go?
Yeah, low key, I thought this was a vape pen. This is my weed pen, so I'm sorry if I was like kind of, you
Okay,
know.
you're all right.
Anyway, can I give shout outs?
Yeah, go ahead, give a
Hey,
shout.
shout out DG, shout out FunX, shout out all of Rat Society. I'm gonna go through a few of them. Shout out Jazz, shout out Ali, shout out Carmi, shout out me, shout out Essence, shout out Hawk, shout out Lifeline, shout out Trippin', and shout out Skirt, and Mylene, and Squid, and Adore, and Zet. Bro, I'm forgetting the rest. Literally
Got
all
it.
of them. I was reading the list.
Yeah, yeah, chat was going pretty well for you there, so I think you had some friends jump in. Well, thank you, Temp. It was a lot of fun here interviewing you tonight. Thanks a lot for sticking around with us late tonight. Thanks a lot for chat for sticking around with us here too.
For sure.
This has been our second to last episode. We have one more episode next week here on the Beat Drop. Make sure everybody's tuning in for our final feature matches next week. But thank you guys all so much for tuning in. We'll see everybody next time.